Yo, what up guys? Welcome back to another video. Now today I want to jump into something a little bit different and I want to talk about money. It's been a really big part of my life the past few months. I mean, it's a big part of everybody's life, isn't it? But I've been trying to spend less and save more, and in the process of not just the past few months but over my lifetime, kind of wanted to give you some tips on how to save better, along with some things you should avoid doing. And yeah, so get ready. Here's 5 tips for saving money. So number one, I don't like to use this word, but it's the best word to use, is first thing you really need to do is create some kind of budget. You need to take a look at your previous months or years spending or whatever. You can usually look that up on your bank account information online. If not, you can actually track it using different apps. I'm not gonna get into that. You can do your own research and find it, but you need to see where your money is going. Now, I do wanna preface that I did not come up with this equation that I'm about to tell you, this breakdown. It's actually from this awesome book I read. It's actually the first book I got on Audible, because your first book is free, and it's called I Will Teach You to Be Rich. And the book broke down kind of more reasonable ways to save your money, instead of like just being like, yeah, you need to save as much as possible, like save 65% so you can retire when you're 35. That's great. And if you want to do that, then you got to go look somewhere else, because like I wish I could do that, but as of now I can't. I have to be more reasonable. So the first thing is in this budget, this is from the book, so I take no credit for it, but I found it really useful for me, is break it down. About 50 to 60% of your monthly income should be used for fixed costs. So that would be your rent, your different like student loans for me, and stuff like that has to fall into it. So again, you don't want to be spending, I personally don't want to spend more than 50% of my money on like rent. Like some people get really crazy. I make about like $2,000 a month. So, you know, if I'm spending $1,000 a month for an apartment, that's crazy. By the way, this is all take home pay. It's post-tax. So about 50 to 60% for your fixed costs. So for me personally, that includes money for my like monthly subscriptions like Netflix, Apple Music, Epidemic Sound, Adobe, and all that stuff, along with my rent here, along with my student loans, and along with some money I send home every month to my American bank account. So fixed cost 50 to 60%. The second is your investment. You want about 10% to invest. Now, for me, I'm not at that stage yet where I have enough money. I didn't build my nest egg yet. So I'm not investing right now. Instead, I'm putting extra money into my savings, which is the next one. So investments I'll talk about later once I actually start doing it. Again, the author goes into it in the book about good ways to invest your money. The next thing is 5 to 10% you want to save. So this is like, investing would be your long-term savings essentially, you know, where you're saving for retirement and stuff, and you know, you're getting paid back interest and getting dividends or whatever you happen to be doing. And your savings is gonna be more short-term in terms of maybe you wanna buy a new, for me it would be like, oh, I wanna buy a new lens or a new microphone or a gimbal or whatever. And you gotta decide, you know, how much it is. And you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna start saving now and in 3 or 4 months I can buy whatever it is. You wanna go on vacation and stuff, you want all that in savings. And then the last one, whatever's left over basically, which is gonna be 20 to 35%, you can use that for your guilt-free spending. So that money you can use for whatever you want. And it's important to budget this kind of money each month, that like you can do whatever you want. If you wanna go out for dinners, you have that money. If you wanna go shopping, you have that money. If you wanna do whatever, you have that money that you can freely spend it without feeling guilty. That's why it's guilt-free. Now, what's very important in this budget that I want to say is it's very important for you to save some money. There's different people saying different things. Some people say you should have $1,000 emergency savings. Some people say you should have a month salary. Some people say 3 months, 6 months. In general, obviously, the more you have, the better. And it's something I've learned with this coronavirus thing going on, is there's a lot of teachers who aren't getting paid. Knock on wood, my company is still paying me and I'm able to survive. I also get paid a little bit more than the average teacher because of my position and my experience, but nonetheless, it's important to save money in case of an emergency. You know, if you're in America, you need to have the money if you need to get tested for the virus. You need to save for things like that, and it needs to be there. You can't have these little payments throw you over the edge. That's how it becomes a spiral. People don't have the money, then maybe they'll take out a payday loan or some predatory loan with really high interest rates, and it becomes this snowball where you just get more and more debt. Relating to that, it's also like when you have any debt, try to pay it off as quickly as possible. Obviously, don't make the minimum payments. I've heard of people paying the minimum of their student loans and the actual loan keeps going up because they have so much interest on it. So be very careful with it and save some money so you can buy stuff in advance, and so you have that savings so you can use it if need be. So let's move on to the second thing. Number 2 is, as soon as you get paid, you don't want to keep that money as a lump sum in your checking account. Once that money goes into your account, you need to decide beforehand. I use the budget, for example, and you need to say what money is used for what. Economists say money is fungible, which means money can be used for many different things. So that dollar you have can be put towards it, but you need to give your money a purpose. People would say make the money work for you, right? So the money needs to have a role. Like, okay, this dollar is for guilt-free spending and this dollar is for savings. But essentially take your paycheck after you get paid and break it down what goes where. And I would recommend you have different bank accounts. Huong and I actually, I send money, as soon as I get paid, the day after I go to the bank and I send X amount of dollars home to my bank account. And then I send a predetermined amount each month, depending on how much I get paid. If I did overtime, a little bit more, whatever, I send that to her bank account. Now in her bank account, she has sub accounts, I guess. Like she has more breakdowns into different savings accounts. So like for rent, it goes into one account where we can't like easily access it. Another one is for savings. Then we have another money we pull out in cash that we put into a physical piggy bank. So that way the money is, what's the word I'm looking for? The money is, it's predetermined where it's going. So you know before the fact what's gonna happen with your money. See, the problem is many people, they get all this money and they're like, oh hell yeah dude, champagne, you know, let's go out, whatever. And then halfway through the month they realize they're broke. So as soon as you get paid, you gotta put the money where it's supposed to be, and whatever's left over, then you have your, for example, guilt-free spending. Right? Remember, be smart with your money and be very careful with it. It's so easy to get into this rut. I've seen it happen. So avoid it. Number 3, let's focus for a little bit about the guilt-free spending, okay? That guilt-free spending you have, you need to find what makes you happy and spend money on those activities or those things or whatever it happens to be. You need to narrow it down and say, like, for example, I don't care much for clothing. I'm actually really happy with my H&M shirts that I get for like $6 a piece, and I'll just buy them on bulk because I don't care much for fashion. So I don't spend a lot of money on clothes. I spend what I need to get by, and that's it. But on the other hand, I like camera gear. So of course, my guilt-free spending is almost always put into, oh, I wish I could have a lav mic. Oh, I wish I could have a new lens or this or that. And that's what I use my money for. And instead of, I don't buy other things, right? So you need to find whatever it is that interests you and you spend money on that. Some people, it might be, oh, I like to go out every weekend. So then you have your like bar money or dinner money or whatever it is, you have that money, but then you need to cut back on everything else, right? You need to live reasonably. You don't need to be flashing everything. If you want to have a Supreme t-shirt or whatever that's going to cost you $300, then don't go out and, you know, buy champagne when you go out to the bar, or don't go out at all. You see what I'm saying? You need to level it out and balance that guilt-free spending. People often get in over their heads. Don't try to impress other people. Don't try to impress actually anybody. Just do what makes you happy. It's really simple. And once you get that through your head and really internalize it, it's really gonna help you a lot, especially when it comes to your money. Number 4 is you need to take advantage of credit cards. That's gonna help you a lot in terms of saving or being smarter with your money, right? And what I mean by this is I have a credit card and it has cash back. So now, of course, what I'll do is I have money saved each month, or I'm saving money each month. And if I buy something, I'll actually buy it with a credit card, get the cash back, and then just pay the credit card off immediately. So now I'm not paying any interest because I paid it off immediately, but I'm still getting some cash back. So it's not a lot, but if you can get more things onto these cards that have some kind of advantage, whether it's cash back or frequent flyer or whatever it is, again, you can research it online and find many different things. Once you find the card you want, you need to leverage that to your advantage, right? The credit cards make money by people taking and spending all their money and not being able to pay it back, and it gets crazy. For example, I have a Barclays card, which is combined with Apple, and I didn't realize that when I got it, it had 2 years interest free. And that was great because I bought my MacBook and an iPad and I bought Huong's phone. But I didn't realize that once you get to the 25th month, all the interest that you accrued over those two years, if it's not paid off in full, it gets added on top of that, which for me would have been $800 in interest. Luckily, I saw that at like just before, like a few months before, so I was able to pay everything off, no problem. But you need to be careful. So you need to be smart with it and take advantage. Like if you have interest free, you can use it and you can make these big purchases, but pay them off. The goal of the game is you never want to pay interest, right? The credit card companies make plenty of money off of fools who screw up. Don't be that fool, be smart, and you will play their game against them. Is that right? Sounds weird. But you know what I'm saying, right? Makes sense? Okay, and the final one, of course, the easiest way that people would tell you to save more money is obviously to make more money, right? Now, this goes into a huge debate. You can talk with millions of people about everybody has different tactics, right? You can have a side hustle, you can start a small business, you can do whatever, you can get a promotion at work, right? There's many different ways you can make more money, but obviously you can only cut down your salary into so many chunks and still enjoy your life. You can only do that so much. Like eventually you don't want to be eating like peas every day or beans or whatever, or just like white rice because you're trying to save money. You're going to be a miserable person, right? So once you get to that where you can live comfortably, try to make more money. And that more money, that extra money you make, you can put that into your savings or investment and improve your life. It's important that as you get more money, whether it's side hustle, for me it's teaching online, for me it's going around and finding people who need a teacher and I can teach them and make extra money, right? For you it's something else. I mean, there's all kinds of different ways to make money, but what's important, and I want you to remember, is once you learn to live within your means and once you acquire more income, don't go and increase your cost of living, right? You don't need to live in a penthouse, you need to live reasonably, and the extra money you have you can invest, because at the end of the day, if you can retire early, that's the most important thing, right? The point of this video is to get you to save a little bit of money and to try to enjoy your life more. I feel like so many people I see here in Vietnam or in America, we're really becoming slaves to the money. And I'm reading this awesome book that I'll talk about later, but throughout history, people use money to leverage it against other people. It's a form of power and this and that, and we need to break away from that. The money is not just a tool to make your life better, but don't get obsessed over it. Learn to live with what you have a job that you're happy with, that supports you well enough, and then go and do in your free time what you enjoy. Don't go and chase it more and more. Find a side hustle, make a little bit extra, but don't live just for the money. Now, of course, that's easier said than done. I'm in a, I guess, kind of privileged situation. I also like to think that I worked my way to this situation from like a refugee like 20 years ago when my family first came to America. But anyways, I digress. Save your money, be smart with it, and it's gonna pay off exponentially in the long run. Remember, money and savings is just like your health. The earlier you start, the longer and the more you'll have in the long run. So guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little bit different video. I wanna add in some things that, some tips that I've found helpful for me. So be prepared for a couple of different styles of videos that I'm making. So if you like it, give it a like, comment down below if you wanna see more, if there's different topics you want me to talk about. I got a whole list though, like literally I have like pages and pages of like different types of things I wanna do. So thanks for watching guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.